Hello and welcome to my verse for the week, this time in Greek. I've been doing Hebrew for months now, and so I thought I would switch to Greek. And since for my weekly podcast I'm looking at Revelation, I thought I would, for the remainder of Revelation, unless nobody's interested, do a verse from the chapter of the week. This week's chapter was Revelation 3. You can see Laodicea, the ruins of Laodicea in the background as I visited it in 2013. I hope they've been working on it to where it gets even better. But let's look at Revelation 3:20, which you may know. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. Let's look at the Greek. Idou hesteka, epitein thuron kai kruo. Okay, what is this saying? Idou means behold. And it actually is an imperative. Don't make a lot of the imperative. It's grammatically an imperative. It basically means look. But it's in a way, it's a bit of an interjection. It doesn't have a lot of meaning, but it's look up here, look up here, look up here. Behold, behold. This is id is from the root of see. Adon is the irregular form, and this is aorist, and then u is a second person singular command. So behold, look. Hesteka. So you can see stay there in the middle, stand. There's a historical relationship between the Greek word histemi, which means to stand, and stand in English, which has sta at its root. Also, the he on the front, along with the kappa alpha, tells me that this is perfect. By the way, I misremembered in the podcast and said aorist. It's perfect. But anyway, oops. So I have stood. This is a first person singular, perfect, active, indicative, from histemi, to stand. So behold, I have stood, and I'm still standing. So the perfect tense implies that at some point Jesus came to the door, and he's been standing there. He's just standing. Go ahead and let him in. Oh yeah. Anyway, so he's standing at the door. Let him in. Interesting, I pointed out in the podcast that in the Church of Philadelphia, the door is open and nobody can close it. The Laodiceans have somehow gotten Jesus outside of the house, and I don't know whether they don't realize it, but he's waiting. Let him in. So behold, I have stood upon the door, at the door, and I am crewing. I am knocking. Jesus is trying to get in, but he's not going to force his way in, because he leaves that to us. If someone, so tis is the indefinite pronoun, doesn't have the accent, so it's someone. An is one of two words for if. This is the iffy if, which means I'm expecting a subjunctive. When I see this conjunction, subjunctive is coming, subjunctive is coming. And I'm not surprised. Akuse is a subjunctive. If someone should hear, so akuo, acoustics, should hear. The sigma, now a sigma indicates future in the indicative mood, but this is subjunctive because of the on. And so in the subjunctive mood, a sigma indicates aorist. So this is aorist. It is third person singular. O, ace, a. It's the vowel has been fried into an eta because it's subjunctive. So it's an aorist active subjunctive third singular from akuo. If someone should hear the voice of me. Now this is genitive, and you might say, well, the direct object of a verb is usually accusative. Why is it genitive? It's genitive because akuo, it's finicky. This particular verb says, I want my object in the genitive. Well, fine, be that way. Actually, akuo is flexible. Akuo can take its object in either the genitive or the accusative. But if someone should hear the voice of me and should open, now on is like it throws a rock and it skips across the pond. It hits here with a subjunctive, and it hits here with a subjunctive. So this is another subjunctive. If someone should hear my voice and should open the door. And of course he's talking to the Laodiceans specifically. But this is true in general, right? This is true. This is a verse that I learned it as a memory verse at some point in Sunday school. And the idea is that God wants to come into everybody's house, not just the Laodiceans. And so Jesus is knocking at the door, and let him in. Okay, so what is this form here? This is from anoigo, which means to open, and a xi is the key to a hidden sigma. And so the gamma and the sigma have gone have crashed into a x, and so there's a hidden sigma. Again, because this is subjunctive, third person singular, the sigma indicates that it's subjunctive. So we have, again, an aorist active subjunctive third singular. If someone should hear the voice of me and should open the door, and is a little not as smooth in English as we would want. We would want something like then, or some word like that. I think this might indicate that the author of Revelation, let's call him John, could be a Hebrew or an Aramaic speaker. In other words, this and here fits much better in Hebrew than it does in Greek. And so this may be this and here, believe it or not, this and here may be a hint that John's first language, his love language, his heart language is Aramaic. Okay, so if someone should hear my voice and open the door, then I will come in to him. I will enter in. Him here probably implies women as well. So again, the Greek language is patriarchal and a little biased, but we know that it means everybody. Ace elusami. So a sigma here indicates future. Oh my, this is deponent. This is actually, I'm just going to tell you what it is. It's the irregular future of ace urkamai. The future of urkamai is elusami. And so this is the future of ace urkamai. I will enter in. I will go in. And so it is first person singular, my. It is future. It is deponent, which means it looks active, but it looks passive, but it's not. We translate it actively. It is indicative, saying I will enter. It's not a subjunctive, from a circumai. I will enter into him, and I will eat with him. I will dine with him. Depnao. Again, an omega indicates first person singular in this case, where the I comes from. It's future because of the sigma. So it's future, active, indicative, first singular from depnao. The a of depnao has lengthened when you added a tense suffix of a sigma. I will dine with him, and he himself with me. The autos is unnecessary in a way, I suppose. Although, since there's no verb, I guess it's a little bit more necessary. Usually, when autos is in the nominative case, it intensifies the subject I, or he in this case. And it's implied, he with me. He will dine with me. Will dine is missing, it's implied. Okay, so that's possibly intensive. All right, so we have Revelation 3:20. Behold, I have stood and I'm still standing at the door. I'm knocking. If someone should hear my voice, because you're not paying attention, people. And if you would open the door, it's not enough to know he's there. You have to open the door. And then I will come into that person and I will dine with them. Communion overtone, maybe. And he himself will eat with me. Revelation 3:20 is our verse in Greek for this week.